Last week, we spoke to Lakshmi about her experiences as an immigrant. Today, we will be speaking to her daughter, Kavita. So, Kavita, how old were you when you first moved overseas? Old enough to remember leaving. I was probably 6, 7 years old. I remember saying goodbye to my friends and family, and everyone was saying, she doesn't understand. She doesn't understand that she's leaving. And what were some of the challenges you feel like you faced in, straddling two cultures or falling between two stools, as Salman Rushdie puts it? Huh? What I mean is, do you feel like you're struggling to fit into both cultures at the same time, but never quite fitting into either one? Look, culture is such a subjective term. Everybody's culture is different. Your culture is influenced by so many other things. Take, for example, South Asian subcultures in different countries. Indians who moved to Malaysia 60 years ago are very different to the Indians who are in India now. Their culture is completely different. They formed their own subculture. It's the same with Indians in the UK or Indians in South Africa. And it's exactly what's happening right now with my parents. They moved to Australia 20, 30 years ago, and they're forming their own subculture here along with the other mass migration of Indians that moved to Australia, New Zealand, Canada, the States back in the 90s. They all moved at a point in time and kind of crystallized the traditions from India that they took with them when they left and formed their own subculture with it. I can only speak of my lived experience of what culture is, and that's unique to me. Yes, your mother did mention that you'd said something like that to her. Oh yeah? What else did my mother say about me? Oh, nothing really. Just exactly what you said, that you were saying that everyone's culture is unique to them. Yeah, that's right. Well, take for example Australian culture, right? Brown people love to get up on their pedestal and say, what culture? White people don't have a culture. Like, look at our traditions and festivals and colors. This is what culture is. But it's like, dude, relax. Sorry, can you elaborate on that? Yeah, I'm getting to that if you'd let me continue. So it's like, calm your farm, brown fam, just like you left India, 20 years ago and moved to a different country and have started your own subculture here. That's exactly what these white people have done. But 200 years ago, as like early settlers or gold miners or convicts, who knows? But they did exactly the same thing, but it's been a long time ago. So they may not have elaborate festivals and ceremonies like we do, but they have other things in their culture. Moving to a different country and having to work hard and farm the land, this required a specific set of skills, like being good with your hands, being good with problem solving, working outdoors, surviving in brutal conditions, living in nature. So Australian culture and values are all derived from that. So Australian culture values things like sports, camping, hiking, being outdoors, barbecues, being on the beach, being in nature, problem solving, being good with your hands. It values things like autonomy and independence, which were critical to surviving in a different place, moving 200 years ago, coming on a ship. These were all important skills that still translate to Australian culture now. You finished? Okay. So you certainly seem to know a lot about early settler life. Have you studied this at uni? Nah, not really. It's just my theory, but I'm pretty sure it's right. Oh, right, I see. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking? Oh, I'm almost 20. Ah, right, I see. Okay. So, Kavita, do you have any other theories from your long life thus far? Well, I've lived about a third of my life in India and probably like two-thirds in Australia. So I'd say from my experience, I have a fairly good understanding of interpersonal relationships and communication between people. I have a lot of theories on things for sure, but none that I've distilled down to some kind of thesis, elevator pitch I can just regurgitate at the drop of a hat. That's not how critical thinking works. It's an iterative process. Ah, of course, of course. Well, I wouldn't want to disturb you when you're in the middle of your iterative critical thinking. So thank you so much for making the time to speak to me today. You are going to be a force to be reckoned with, Miss Kavita Iyer. I get that a lot. Don't worry, one day when I'm giving my TED talk, I'll give you a shout. Sure, please do.